Welcome to Proper Talk. I'm your host, Paris Porter. With me is
Nate the Truth.
And today we got some exciting hot topics on deck for you, starting with the rematch of the NFL Super Bowl, also the 2016 Hall of Fame basketball class, and last but never least, Serena Williams' bid to number 23 Grand Slam title. This is PT. We with you. Yeah. Welcome back to Proper Talk. Nate,
Oh yeah,
it was an interesting game, man, to say the least.
man. So
it was exciting.
That rematch was awesome. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like whoever you want to root for, whoever you wanted to win, wanted to lose. It was just a great game. Period.
It was a great game.
It was. Now the highlights that I really want to take away from that game was the quarterbacks, both Cam Newton and Trevor Seaman.
Okay.
Now I'm not gonna lie to you. I like how poised Trevor was. I mean, I'm not saying this is a great outing, but given that both defense are stout, he did pretty well. I think so.
I thought those guys
kept his poise.
I thought those guys definitely performed well enough. Again, as you insinuated, it's not the same way as you said.
Right.
Both defenses are stout.
Yes.
Some anticipated a high scoring game. I know the spread as far as the points were a little bit higher.
Right.
But nonetheless, we got a phenomenal game.
We did.
From the rematch.
Yes.
It was very interesting to say the least.
Yeah.
To see how the dynamics of the ball clubs changed when there's no more Peyton Manning.
Right.
Denver was more run oriented with C.J. Anderson.
Yes.
Who had a phenomenal game.
And looking at it, so what we're talking about, it wasn't a high, scoring game because we didn't see a lot of passes going through. Now, Cam Newton, he attempted 33. He only completed 18. Trevor only completed 18 as well, but he only attempted 26. They both had a pick. And they both had a touchdown.
Okay.
But and like you said, and also too, let's not forget Calvin Benjamin. You know what I'm saying? His return back. Doing his injury. So he looked pretty good. Yeah. I mean,
he's definitely gonna pay off for Cam and having that big target.
Right. He's that big wideout. It's just that he's not explosive. So that's why you want to, rely on Ginn Jr., out there, to give you those, big plays.
Oh, yeah, spread the field.
Right, but beginning in the game, him catching, doing those old school, what's his name? Why can I say, Michael from the Cowboys.
Michael
Irvin. He was doing that. Irvin, and no wideout likes to do
going
that.
Across that middle.
Going across that middle. And that was what Calvin doing, so that was a big thing, that was a huge thing. Also, like he was pointing out, the takeaway from this game is not so much the quarterbacks, but how poised and energized C.J. Anderson took the field. He was ripping. Looking at that, and also too, lastly, and I want to kind of talk about how important the kicker is. So, listen, it's so hard to be that player that the entire game is on your shoulders now.
Yes.
Now, Gino, right? That's his name. So he was kicking. He did pretty well. His percentage was high. When they call that timeout and they freeze you, and this is my theory. When a team calls a timeout and try to freeze the kicker, I don't think the kicker should go through the motion. He went through the motion. You know how it was kind of going right and it kind of bounced in and went in. And I was just screaming. I said, that's it. He's not going to hit it. Of course, he overthought it because he saw how far right it was going. He hooked it to left and then that was the end of the game.
And speaking of that, it sounded like you're talking about a pressure situation.
Yeah.
It was funny because I was listening to Shaq's interview, who was recently inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Yes. And
he said his stepfather taught him what pressure. He said there is no pressure. He said he took him to visit a homeless shelter, I believe, or some they got a homeless family. And they took him, the Walmarters took him shopping, and later on he told him, he said, man, that's pressure, man. I know where your next meal gonna come from. He said, playing ain't no pressure. So the kickers, we seen them with the Vikings, and their kicker missed the field goal that could have propelled them to the next round, and they lost versus the Seattle Seahawks last year in the playoffs.
Right.
But what pressure, man?
Right.
What
pressure? I mean, he had pressure to feed a 300-pound child. That was pressure, I guess. But hey, he got it done. So so talking about Shaq.
Yeah, he was recently inducted into the Hall of Fame.
That's correct.
Which is definitely well deserved.
Yes.
I feel like for players like Shaq, they shouldn't have to wait all them years to get it.
You should.
Shaq should be first year. But I know the NBA and other leagues have their rule in place in case players come back.
Right.
They don't want a guy already in the Hall of Fame playing against players.
That's correct.
That kind of prestige puts him over the other guys. I'm guessing that's the thinking behind it.
Right.
We know Shaq is the most dominant big man in the last 25 years.
Without a doubt.
Without question.
Right.
This got me to thinking.
Yeah.
Because Shaq had an interesting career. We know he played for 6 NBA teams.
That's correct.
I think, truthfully, he'll always be remembered as a Laker.
He would. Yeah.
However, a guy like you may think that Shaq, back in 93, 94, 95, when he took the Orlando Magic to the finals, when he lost against, the Rockets, you may say that Shaq was a better version than the Shaq in LA.
Right.
Who won 3 NBA.
So I call it, that Shaq was Shaq the hustler. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about, this is the now I would call this that. He was the gridiron Shaq, meaning that he has something to prove, and man, he was proving it. Also, too.
Hold on.
No, go ahead.
Are you saying that the Shaq in Orlando is better than the Shaq that was in Los Angeles? I mean, it's the same Shaq, it's the same person. But which version is better, man? I want you to answer this, man, and break it down.
Okay, so the Shaq in Orlando to me was that particular Shaq where he had to build that franchise up from the ground, right? You didn't have to build up the Los Angeles Lakers. I mean, you're coming to an establishment that was already Showtime proof. You understand what I'm saying? So you got a young Kobe Bryant that was coming under the wings of Nick Van Exel he had in the back, and then Eddie Jones,
Victor Jerry West.
Right. So you had an aging backcourt that was going to also, pass the torch. Bringing a Shaquille O'Neal over, that was guaranteed. Now with Orlando Magic, it wasn't. Think about it. Orlando Magic wasn't that ball club that you saw going into the finals and winning. But him coming there and Anthony Hardaway joining with them.
What made the Shaq better on the court versus the Shaq better than in Orlando versus the Shaq in Los Angeles? What made him better on the court?
Nah, I'm not gonna lie to you. The Shaq in LA, I believe though, they worked more on his mechanics. You understand what I'm saying? So in Orlando, he was more of a bang bang player, meaning that just I get under the hole, whatever comes, I'm gonna grab it, and I'm gonna put it back in. When he went to LA, they worked more on a hook shot, right? They worked more on pivots. You understand?
Okay.
So he was a more mechanically better basketball player when he got to LA. I mean, come on, with that type of staff that you get with Jerry West. I mean, no doubt, it was gonna work on him.
And I'm gonna believe for the Shaq in Los Angeles was better. I seen both.
Yeah.
There's no doubt that Shaq was more dynamic.
Yes.
He was slimmer. He was younger.
Yeah.
He was faster. He got up and down that floor. You seen a lot more rim running, explosive dunks. He tearing the rims down.
Yes.
I mean, he was just
he was the reason why they had to create the breakaway rim.
But the reason why he was better in Los Angeles because he won 3 NBA championships. Let's not forget, Hakeem Olajuwon wearing circles around Shaq in the '95 finals.
Yeah.
He easily outplayed Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah.
Shaquille O'Neal in Los Angeles was simply the most dominant player. As you said, his mechanics improved. You're talking about his back to the basket game. Within the triangle offense, eventually when Phil Jackson got there, he had the ability to display his great passing skills, which is underrated for a big guy. Shaq was purely dominant in both Los Angeles and Orlando. I take the Shaquille O'Neal who won 3 out of 4 in LA as he'll tell you real fast. Now, we look at numbers. He averaged 27.2 his 4 years in Orlando. He averaged 27 a game, his seasons in LA.
Yes.
So the numbers wise, they're similar. I just think that his pure dominance, will, and that supporting cast in LA as well. I think that's the reason why I was the best Shaquille O'Neal in Los Angeles. But both are great. Yeah. And I think that era created the dynamic too. Because I know when you were coming up, you were watching those Magic teams.
Doubt.
When I was coming up, I was watching those Laker teams.
Right, no doubt. I think that he could have took the Magic franchise itself to a different height. I think he could have gave them 3 titles. Furthermore, I think that Anthony Hardaway could have sustained a longer and better career.
Penny.
You know why I say that? Because when Shaq left, the load was on Penny.
So you think that's the reason why Penny got hurt?
I don't think Penny was ready for that. And so when he got hurt, I'm not putting on Shaquille O'Neal that Penny Hardaway, Anthony, was banged up like that. But they put that tire pressure on Anthony at that point, and I don't think that was fair. All because Alonzo Mourning got more money.
Well,
It was about the money.
I'm not sure Shaq would have ever won a championship and lost in Orlando.
He would.
If we look at the history of the NBA,
Mm-hmm.
it's pretty clear cut who getting ready to win the championships.
Yeah.
he made the right decision.
So we shouldn't tout on a Kevin Durant. We shouldn't tout on a LeBron James when they jump into a team in a better situation. That's what Shaquille O'Neal did.
Well, let's go from one Hall of Fame inductee to the next.
Okay. Yes.
The answer, Allen Iverson.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
We're talking about practice right now.
Right.
It got me to thinking. I was watching this speech.
Yes.
It was kind of emotional.
Yes.
Allen Iverson went through a lot. We know as far as he was kind of a cultural ambassador when he got in the NBA as far as just being an urban soul and coming from that community and representing, as we would say.
Correct.
But I was thinking, man, his impact on the game was so just humongous, man. Who had a bigger impact? Because I'm looking at it versus a Steph Curry today, where he's kind of got that 3-ball going, and I think a lot of the kids growing up, they want to play like Steph now. Versus Allen Iverson from when I was a kid, we wanted to grow up playing like AI. Who do you think had the bigger impact?
So we're talking about a different era. You had going up the first the Magic Johnson and the Larry Bird era, and then it ushered in the Michael Jordan era. Now, not to say Michael Jordan wasn't still prevalent in the Allen Iverson era, but Allen Iverson had more of a cultural difference to the sport itself. So it wasn't so much just his game. Now, man, him breaking ankles and coming off that baseline, no other, right? But it was his appearance, his swag. I mean, now that we call it that, what I'm saying is he changed how other ball players dressed, how David Stern had to make a dress code.
He did that.
Cornrows on the court. What I'm saying is that Allen Iverson was a product of this young generation and how hip-hop culture itself was still a huge thing and being practiced. He was a product of that. So when Allen Iverson was coming in with these basketball skills, he was carrying with him also culture. So he culturally changed the game, right, for that particular era. Stephen Curry, he's ushering in a whole different new era. So yes, Allen Iverson for that era, I think he was great. He was a phenomenal basketball player and also changed the culture and how players dressed. And even addressed themselves. They kind of stood up for themselves.
I got you.
You understand? Stephen Curry, he's ushering a new era. And what era do you see with that?
We see the 3-ball. Now, I think I do want to make my answer clear here.
Okay.
Steph Curry is a phenomenal player. We know it.
Yes.
Two-time back-to-back MVP, the first unanimous MVP the NBA's ever seen.
No doubt.
I do think Allen Iverson is a better individual player.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay.
So, but who's had the bigger impact? Iverson's impact was huge.
Yes.
But I think to push the game forward, I think Stephen Curry's impact is a little bit ahead of what Iverson was able to accomplish. And it's nitpicking at this point because we know Iverson was in at the end of the Jordan era.
Right.
So he helped carry the league past that time when you lost the biggest star the sports ever had.
And also, too, you got to recall the certain rules in the game is different now. So the era that Allen Iverson was playing in.
But they've also taken out rules that Iverson benefited from, like the palming with the crossover.
You're right.
You know, to say that if you think about what Steph Curry's accomplished in his young career, he's won a championship. We know he's back-to-back MVP. He's a 3-time All-Star. But that doesn't do it justice as far as what he's done for the game of basketball within a short time.
Right.
They had to change the entire game because of this guy.
That's correct.
I mean, in the way him and his team play.
Right.
These guys can shoot crazy from 3, pulling. I think what Steph has done as far as on the court, I think you can argue as far as coaches is taking. I say on the court, Steph Curry's changed the entire NBA. Okay. You got a lot of teams who want to play like the Golden State Warriors.
Right.
And they want to try to duplicate that style. And I think you're going to see players come up now want to duplicate the way Curry played.
Right.
We've seen guys who idolize Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan.
No doubt.
I think Curry's in that next mode. It's going to come down to health with Steph.
Right.
But I think that's very interesting.
It is.
Another thing, let's go from another Hall of Famer to the next.
Yes.
Let's look at Cheryl Swoops.
Yes.
Who was inducted.
Yes.
How did you feel about that? I mean, I think it was well deserved. We know she's a 4-time WNBA champion.
Right.
When I started thinking about Swoops and I was watching her speech, I was thinking, out of all the women who's played in WNBA, who's had the bigger impact?
So now let's look at 2. Lisa Leslie,
Oh yeah,
and,
she had.
and Cynthia Cooper. Let's
Oh
look
yeah,
at them
yeah.
two.
So we know Cynthia Cooper's the best.
Okay.
To play.
Right.
So
So you think Cheryl was more like well deserved, but do you believe that it was just like her time?
well, I think with Cheryl, she embodied winning.
Okay, right.
I mean, we
right.
know she came from that cloth. She had that intensity. We know she's one of the first players to sign a contract in the WNBA.
That's
so
right.
for the sport, she was all in from day one.
Yes.
We know she ended up giving birth to a baby. So her WNBA career was kind of
cut short.
But I think that she in the conversation of being one of the most influential WNBA players. Now, if I say who's had the most impact on the WNBA, I gotta say Lisa Leslie, and that's nitpicking. But Lisa, we know she's the first woman to dunk in the game.
See, that's what I was saying. Like, not just her height, but what she was able to do.
And the market she played in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
She also won championships herself.
Right.
She's won an MVP.
See, that's what I'm
herself.
saying. When you go to LA,
8-time All-Star.
Right.
Yeah.
Right,
So
right.
Lisa, we know Lisa did what she had to do, and then you think about the off-the-court things she's done, being a model.
Oh, yeah.
I just think that she helped bring attention to the game during that time, and I think as of now, she's the most influential player.
Now, since we talked about earlier, ushering in the new era, the Allen Iverson era, then the Steph Curry era, who's going to be that new face for the WNBA? Because, like you said,
I think it's Maya Moore.
Okay, Maya. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, she's
Without a doubt.
She's the captain now.
Without a doubt.
Okay. All right.
Without a doubt.
All right. Now going to that, I want to speak about Serena Williams.
Oh yeah.
Now, firsthand, I want to say congratulations on passing Roger Federer, but she lost her 23rd U.S. title.
Yes.
Now, we spoke about this in earlier videos about her perhaps decline. And not to take anything away from it, she had an illustrious career. My question to you is, because of this 23rd loss in the U.S. Open, okay,
Well, yeah,
against
our bid for
Carolina,
number 23, yeah.
yeah, against Carolina. So, do you feel as though this probably will be her, I would say next season, she may be dwindling down, maybe getting ready for retirement, maybe?
I'm not certain. I know injury will play a part.
Right.
Anytime an athlete's aging, injury will have a factor.
Right.
So nothing's promised.
Yeah.
And to tell you the truth, Serena Williams,
Yeah.
I'm not sure that she'll gain sole possession of the all-time record. We know she's tired right now,
Yeah.
but nothing's promised, man. All these years, and there's a lot of pressure. Again, I'm of the cloth of Shaq's father when you say pressure is not feeding your family or not knowing your next meal. But when you're trying to break records and you're trying to just step into a whole nother stratosphere of level of play and how you're compared, how you're received, I think that can weigh on the player.
Now, when you
And we know, like I said, the injuries going to play a factor. I think she hurt her knee in the in her loss or in her bid for the number 23. Grand Slam. So we're gonna have to see how that works out.
You think it was a nagging injury when she was coming out of the Olympics? Pat?
I'm not certain. She's played a lot. She's played a lot, many years. So
right. But when you speak about pressure, I mean, if you think about it, the Williams sisters, I mean, yes, Shaq's father's right about pressure not feeding the family. But over the years, what the Williams sisters had to overcome in the United States itself, and the treatment they were getting about being in tennis.
Oh yeah.
And this is here in the United States. So no, they received pressure. They saw the real America. You understand what I'm saying? So I mean, congrats to them, period, for even enduring that type of pressure and being a champion.
Oh yeah.
So phenomenal athlete.
And last but not least, we do want to say congrats to Yao Ming.
Oh yeah.
Who's helped build a brand of basketball in China.
Right. And international.
It's a huge market for the NBA now.
Yes.
Yao's well deserving. He did his thing. But coming back, we're going to jump into the third segment.
Oh yeah.
Today we're going to dissect the key issue of player safety in the NFL. We know everything's NFL. We know they're a huge, huge business.
That's right.
We're getting ready to jump into players safety. We'll be back with you in 60.
All right.
I give you all
welcome back to Proper Talk.
Oh yeah.
And we're getting ready to dive straight into this player safety, which has been a huge issue.
Right.
Over the past 4 or 5 years, there's been a microscope on the league about it.
Right. So you have to look at it this too. The NFL players are the modern day gladiators. Okay, correct? So let's look at the history of what gladiators is, right? So the earlier combatants of gladiators, they used to be conquered people, people that were lower class or even slaves, right? Now, the demographic change when rules start to be implemented in the games. Now, I'm talking about the gladiator games itself, hence the NFL. So first, you take in a sport where, and it's almost like boxing, right? You always see like a lower class, middle class, players coming in to play. Now that you see that there could be a particular a bloodbath in a sport, meaning that it could be dangerous, and we know it is. Because it's popular, because the heights that it's taken, now people are more focused on player safety. Now we're talking about now the phenomenon in the NFL and how it grew. Of course, with any corporation, when it grows, more regulations are going to be handed down. So we're asking the question, what is the league doing now to make sure they're protecting these players? So question is, now that CTE is being recognized, how will the NFL continue to support player safety? How will this transcend into the games now?
Well, one thing we've seen this year, NFL reported a 58% increase in reported concussions.
Okay.
Which is the most over the 4-year span in which they've been keeping record. So NFL and teams seem to be more proactive as far as waving that hand down on the sideline, whether it's assistant coach or whoever. Okay. And they're recognizing when players seem dazed, dizzy, and they're taking them through the protocols of concussion. Okay. Now, with that being said, it was 182 concussions sustained last year in the NFL. Okay. 2015. And now out of those 182 concussions sustained, what I found interesting that 29 was caused by the surface, the playing surface, whether it's the turf or the grass. So we know the NFL has implemented many rules to weed out players using their head as weapons, whether it's launching, whether it's just head-on-head collisions. But how are you gonna weed out players getting hurt by the playing surface? So
on prime time Thursday, NBC game, right? The first game of the season. Towards the end of the game, what did we see Cam Newton do? Now, how he was leading down, and then you had a defender, give him a nice pop. Now, when he went down, it looked like he went night-night for a second. He got his heel rocked. You understand what I'm saying? So we all saw that. But here's the question that we got to ask ourselves, because we love the sport too. Now, if Rivera would have took Cam out and said, hold on, son, look like you got knocked up pretty well.
That would have made a huge statement.
But also that would have made angry fans. See, on one end, we want to say we want to protect the players, but on the other end, if the game is close, do we really care about their safety? Right. Because the first thing we're going to throw out there is you're making millions. You knew the risk on being a player. Absolutely. So now who does this fall on? Because now you got half of the populace saying protect, but actually no one even mentioned it. We were just talking about how phenomenal the game is. Correct? Oh yeah. So that was right there in front of our face. And fans are implicated in this player safety as well. Right. The culture. Now, it's not all on the NFL teams, medical staffs, owners, players. We know players who sustained several concussions who wanted to continue to play. It's reported against medical advice. Right. So you got to look at the players, but the fans as well. I love the NFL. I watched the game from beginning to end. I even DVR'd the game. There you go. But as I continue to learn more information, as the science about brain injuries continue to evolve, we all have to ask ourselves a critical question. Right. Is it worth it for these players? And are we encouraging? Are we encouraging this game to where lives can be taken? We love it. And as Americans, we love the thrill of the victory, the agony of defeat. We love to see players put their life on the line for something. You understand what I'm saying? So as a culture, we are bloodthirst. We have this necromancy type of way about us. We celebrate the dead, but don't give the roses to the living.
Yeah.
You know, this is our culture. This is, you know, what's developed. Now I want to add into this as well. Now, in terms of player safety itself. Now, you look at a Calvin Benjamin, as we mentioned earlier in the Hot Topics. That's a huge wideout.
Yes.
Now, how's a safety supposed to get him down without even chopping him? You understand?
Yeah.
So it's a couple times he came down on his knee. You know what I'm saying? It's a couple times when he got knocked up, another player come and knocked him, you know, sideways. How are they supposed to play the game, Pete? Like, how do you make the game safe but still make it competitive where it's even out?
And you have something that says humans are not meant to play. I'm not meant to play this game, man.
Right.
The physical contact you endure, play in, play out, week in, week out, year in, year out, is not conducive to a healthy life.
Right.
When you're talking about moving past your 40s, your 50s, etc. I think another big question will be what impact will concussions, head injuries have going forward. I think it was week. I think it was about
the season period.
Yeah, it was about 2 or 3 weeks ago. I think it was episode 6.
Yes. Okay.
We did an episode about the players retiring early.
Yes.
Drop that in the description link as well. And we seen Calvin Johnson, Marshawn Lynch, to name a few, who were still very productive players.
That's correct.
But in my opinion, I think these guys retired from the game due to fear of CTE,
right?
Brain injuries, etc. They made a lot of money,
right?
So I think that's going to have, from a talent perspective, we've seen 13 players retire under the age 30 this past all season.
That's correct.
And a few other players a little bit ahead of 30, but who are still very productive players. We're talking about a deep talent pool of players who've retired. So it's going to be interesting to see this season what impact that's going to have on the game, because you're losing a lot of your great players.
You are. So you even made a mention that perhaps the athletes that were going to go into becoming professional football players may take jobs at other sports.
Yeah.
Now, one sport I want to give a notice to is the MLB, Major League Baseball. Their pension and how they take care of their players is phenomenal. Now, hear me out. The MLB is like driving a sedan.
Okay.
I'm talking about a huge sedan, right? And I'm talking about this sedan has all the safety issue features. So if you were to get into an incident, you know, 9 times out of 10 you're going to come out unscathed. You're going to be okay. Being an NFL player is being on a motorbike with just a helmet, right? What I'm saying is the impact is more fierce. Now, you have a 52-man roster, right? 52, 53-man roster on the NFL. So what I'm saying is, on one end, we're looking at it and saying, well, how come the MLB, why can't the NFL have a pension plan, a safety for, you know, its NFL players? You want to know why? The life expectancy is very short in the NFL. So what I'm saying is, if we want to continue the sport and continue the game, now we have to look at the life expectancy of an NFL or a professional player and how they come up. They're coming up from a high school system, college system, now pros. Now, between that and some didn't start their, I think it was St. Paul Pierre, he didn't even start his career until college, right?
Okay.
He didn't play high school ball. But what I'm saying is, the grit and the grind that you go through, even if you get picked to become a professional, I believe you already been deemed up, right? Your body's already, you already took some life years off your life. I'm not gonna lie to you, playing this sport. What I'm saying is, we already know the impact. We already know the safety concerns about the game, right? So the question is, like you said, if players continue to take this route like Marshawn Lynch did, and I don't know if you heard recently, Pete, that Marshawn, you know, some talks that he may want to play a little bit more. You know, I don't know how true that is, but I just want to throw that back in. I thought that was, you know, strange. But anyway, so if you do have players that's leaving the game early, you know, and like you said, what is it going to do with the game? Like, how are we going to solidify legends of the like we have in the past? How are we going to have?
Even another question that can further it is, will the NFL? I think this is the smoking gun. Can the NFL make this game safer for current players and players of the future?
How so? How so?
And that's but I think in order to make the game safer, the NFL is going to have to be more forthcoming with information concerning the effects of, you know, CTE, brain injuries, and how players sustain these injuries, etc. See, I feel like the NFL is still in denial stage about the CTE and actual brain injuries.
I don't think they're in denial. I think it's messing with profits. You understand what I'm saying? They know this is a deadly sport.
So, and that's what I mean about being more forthcoming with information.
Okay, because
and myself and others, many others, people believe, the NFL is somewhat masking, the public's perception with reporting these concussions and a 58% spike.
Right.
I was reading an article at the New York Daily, which is very interesting. There's a guy named Chris Nowinski, the co-founder and executive director of Concussion and Legacy Foundation, and a leading figure in the movement to get the NFL to account for its brain injury crisis. He has some interesting things to say when it comes to the NFL and what he thinks is, pulling the covers over our face when it comes to the true effects of this game. He said the NFL is trying to discuss the number of concussions, but the real safety issue is the chronic traumatic epilepsy evidence says, and he says that's not correlated with the number of diagnosed concussions. So essentially what he's saying is these statistics match the real problem, which is the blows to the head, game in, game out, week in, week out.
Right.
You understand? So I think that's one of the bigger issues that we see, and that's what I mean by the NFL could be potentially.
How about this, Pete?
And it's more of a high. So in order for this problem to get better, I just want to conclude and say that the NFL, I feel like, need to acknowledge, the fact that there is a problem. In order for them to acknowledge that problem, though, with any business, they're gonna have to see effect in what the bottom line.
Okay.
Because we know the numbers spiked. It's $13 billion in revenue. The NFL grossed last season. That's more than Major League Baseball with $9 billion. That's more than the NBA with $4 billion. That's more than the NHL with $4 billion. We're talking about revenue per year. So as long as it's staying this high, you and I still tuning in,
we will.
What incentive do they have to change?
Let me ask you this question, because again, when we talk about safety protocol, let me ask you this: who are these players, and what financial backgrounds are they coming from?
Great.
The only reason why I'm saying this, Pete, because I'm going to be honest. Do we care? What I'm saying is, so if we have, and like I said, what gladiators are, they come from a lower class, or even they were slave citizens. Saying they were second class citizens. You understand? So we're looking at the indispensable, like the throwaways, if you will, of society, and we said, listen, if you get yourself together, if you go through our system and you come out to be athletically fit to play in our games, then we can give you prize money, fame, and glory. Now that's the gladiators. Now, at some point in time, senators, right, at the time, I'm talking about people who had position and power and didn't have to play through these games. They wanted to test their masculinity by going through these games. You understand what I'm saying? So, in a nutshell, this is a necessary evil, right? Or this is something that we love to watch. Again, like boxing. Listen, boxing, UFC, what I'm saying is, these are deadly sports as well, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Men had died in the ring.
Yeah.
Women had fell in the ring, right? Playing these sports.
Oh, yeah.
We seen bloodbaths. What I'm saying, we know the implications. We know these are deadly games, and that's why we love them. Because
that's the allure to it.
It's the allure to it. Like, that's what we like watching. So we think about this. We can't so much attack the NFL hard either, saying that you guys the NFL is giving us a product that we the citizens love, right? And they deliver. It's almost like you eating a hot dog, correct? Once you go in that factory and you see how a hot dog made, now you're in disgust about it. Listen, this is what you asked for. This is what we give. Now, safety protocols will take changes, and how you tackle and the mechanics of the game could change depending upon, like you said, the bottom line and how we receive it, and saying that, hey, we care about the player safeties. But I want to be honest with you, Pete. I think they can do things to help player safety, but at the end of the day, so what? The NFL is the NFL, right? These are gladiators.
Okay.
And hey, sometimes gladiators what? We love the thrill, right? But how many of us want to see, the life after?
Exactly.
Nobody does.
Yeah.
We just want to see the champion, then when we're done, we want to see the next one.
Absolutely.
That's it. That's the game.
Oh, yeah. That's very interesting, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in with PT again. Please check the description box for links to our social media platforms.
Oh, yeah.
Stay with us. We'll be back in 60 with Nate's final thoughts. PT.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome back to PT. Nate and I today are gonna hit you with our final thoughts.
Oh yeah.
The proper perspective.
Yes, sir.
This is proper talk.
Yes, sir.
Let them know what's proper.
Okay, so what's proper is I want to talk about accountability. Now, like we were discussing earlier about CTE, the brain, and things of that nature with the NFL and how that is affecting player safety, whose fault is it? Who's to blame? A lot of people saying, well, the NFL should take a lot of measures to make sure they're protecting these players. Why just the NFL? What about high school? What about college? We let our sons go into this game knowing, right, the issues that's at hand. So who's accountable, P? What do you see with that?
And that's great. I feel like we're all as fans,
Right.
NFL players, etc., should feel some accountability
That's right.
in this brain injury crisis.
Right.
Including the players' union.
That's
it's
right.
reported that the players' union has withheld information that could further give players an option when it comes to their lives.
That's true.
And if this information was pertaining to brain injuries, what causes CTE, etc. So ultimately, man, on Sunday, we're rooting for our favorite teams. I know I was rooting for my favorite team.
Yeah.
And I'm watching week in and week out. So
Right.
we all should feel
we're all
some
guilty.
But
This is a guilty pleasure.
the biggest question is, do we care as fans? People who tuning in to watching us today, chime in the comments below. Let us know. Do you care?
Do
you
you?
just want to see your favorite player go knock that heck out of the next guy?
Right.
Do you care about their lives afterwards?
Right.
Or do you just want to be entertained?
Right.
Is this right morally? Do you care what's morally right? Let us know.
Right. And remember, these are the modern day gladiators. These are the games, right? So when we have a player that steps onto the field and do a social issue on his platform, we mad at him and say, hey, just play the game. I don't want to see any of this. So some of you are saying that this game is almost like a distraction away from what's really going on. And if so, you need to revisit your own priorities. But I mean, we watch these games because, we love the thrill of sport. Like I said, the fame of it, the thrill of watching, the players out there going at it. But at the same time, you all, look, we know the risk, right? Even getting into a car, you know the risk, right? Because you're not just driving for yourself, you're driving for others. But why are we putting this all on the NFL? That's what I don't understand. I feel it's like, look, your son get messed up in high school. Before he even get to a collegiate career.
Oh yeah.
So don't put all this on the NFL. NFL is just the prize money, right? To get to the prize money, you got to get through what? You got to go through those hurdles. You got to go through the system to even get to the professional system. That's even if you get picked. So look, we all know this, right? Going through. Snoop Dogg even had a series on TV. Like he got a football team out there for the youth. You know what I'm saying? On one end, you're doing something constructive, right? Taking all that aggression and you put it into something else, right? But when we do that, you say, well, that's kind of too rough. But in our society, what they teach us as men, like Shaq said, what do you mean pressure? You know what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying? So we're speaking about a whole different subject when it comes to that. But all I'm saying is, at the end of the day, accountability. Let's not put it all on one. It's all of us.
I believe that as well. Thanks for tuning in with us. It's PT.
Oh yeah.
Again. Leave your comments, hit that like button.
Like.
Check us out.
Oh yeah.
It's been one.
Oh yeah. Peace.